Hi guys, welcome back aboard good old Athena for the second part of our first ever Atlantic crossing and also a day in the life of an offshore passage. My name is Mess, this is my wife Ava. I've spent the last 5 years on a somewhat extensive refit of our 1987 Warrior 38 named Athena. That was a DIY fun-packed adventure complete with a very extensive osmosis treatment, building a new rudder using vacuum infusion, rebuilding the entire deck, gutting and subsequently rebuilding most of the interior, painting the topsides, and a ton of other projects. The summer of 2021 we started cruising full time. Now we're finally ready to begin our adventure. Only a few hours ago we passed an important point, the halfway point. That means every mile we sail now gets us closer to shore. As you might be able to see up here in the corner, we still have 990 miles to go, so we're not close, but we're getting there. About 9 or 10 days ago, we left Mindelo in Cape Verde over here, and we're heading for Barbados. As you might have guessed by the pitch blackness here behind me, it's pretty early in the day. It's around 6 in the morning. In just a few minutes, Ava's gonna come up and relieve me here in the cockpit, and then it'll be my turn to get a bit of sleep. Now, with just the two of us here aboard the boat, of course, we want to make sure we're safe, we want to keep an eye on the boat, but also something that's very important is to manage sleep deprivation. Our general rule of thumb is if you're not on watch and you're physically able to sleep, well, then you should probably take a nap. Sleep deprivation is a great shortcut to stupid decisions and, well, just poor decision making, and we don't need any of that. I think Ava's going to tell you a little bit more about our watch schedule, because as any other boat, we are required to at all times keep an effective lookout as per Rule 5 in the call regs, which can be a little bit challenging when you are short-handed, but yeah. Anywho, it's sleep time for me. And here's Ava.
Good morning. It is so early, and honestly, waking up after your sleep watch, it definitely feels like you have been hit by a truck. So first thing I do on this morning shift is make some coffee. And because it's so early and the sun isn't up yet, I'm going to need a headlamp. For the sake of ease, I just make instant coffee and I just boil some water on the stove and it's done. Gotta be very careful with the coffee. I got my coffee, I'm all strapped and settled in. I think I'm gonna wait till the sun comes up. That's about an hour from now to film a little more for your sake and my own. Let this coffee work in a little bit. So yeah, all that's left for me to do is just sit here, keep watch, and wait for the sun to rise. The sunrise watch is definitely my favorite watch to have, obviously because you get to watch the sunrise, but also because it feels like the most normal watch. Like when you're on a long passage, all the days can kind of just meld together, but when you have the morning like sunrise watch, it just feels like, okay, the sun's coming up, it's a new day, time to like start anew for the day. That being said, I don't always get the morning sunrise watch because we are pretty loosey-goosey with our watch rotation. As Mad said earlier, our main objective is to sleep when you physically can. For instance, if you're tired during the day and you need to sleep, then sleep, because our like regular watch rotation doesn't start until 8 or 9 p.m. and it's usually who is ever tired first, and those watches usually last between 3 and 4 hours. For instance, if you can stay up for a 4-hour watch, then, you know, let the person below sleep for 4 hours. If you can only do 3 hours, then just do 3 hours. But we like to do 3 hours as a minimum. And we just feel like that's the best way for each of us to get the sleep that we need, because some days you're just not as tired as others, and we just feel like this works out really well. I will say the first week we were like, okay, the sleep thing isn't too bad, you know, like we were a little sleepy, but wasn't horrible. But this second week, we're just like, oh, it's like hitting us like a ton of bricks, you know, like waking up for that nighttime shift, you're just like, oh, like bones are creaking. Like it definitely is a slower start, but thank God for coffee. Except for me, I drink coffee. Mads doesn't drink coffee. I don't know how he does it. He's crazy. This is one of the best parts of the morning, when the sun's starting to peek through the clouds. Another reason why I love doing the sunrise watch is because I get to do my little morning routine. Because as many of you know, being confined to a small space, a small nonstop rocking space for weeks on end takes a toll on you mentally and physically. And I kind of wanted to be on top of that this time because there's usually a point in a long passage where I start feeling really lethargic and exhausted, and even just like simple movements are tiring. So when we were in Cape Verde, we had met this really awesome couple, and they had lots of sailing experience, and they both have done clipper races, and the wife was super athletic, and that's what she told me. She's like, you just need to think of this as an athletic event and just keep your body moving as much as possible. And that's what I've been trying to do. Every day I've been trying to do some kind of workout here in the cockpit. Some days that's really easy. Some days it's a bit more of a challenge if there's a lot of sea state. But most importantly, to keep my mind right, I've been meditating every morning. I'm always like, I'm gonna meditate, but I never do, but I have been sticking to it the whole passage. Thankfully to Stacey Stufflebeam, she is one of our Patreons. She gifted me with a membership to her meditation and yoga classes, and it has just been so nice. I will put her info down below if you want to check them out. But yeah, I just feel like this little morning routine has helped keep me sane, or as sane as possible. Because let's face it, people, we still have about 900 miles to go, and at any minute I can snap and start eating the puffballs out of the beanbag chairs.
Good morning, guys. It is I, Captain Slow, that have arisen from my slumber. As you might be able to hear in the background, we've got the engine running right now. That's not because there isn't any wind, it's just because our batteries are a little low on the state of charge. While we do have 800 watts of solar on the SolarEdge, that's not quite enough to keep the batteries topped off with the freezer, the fridge, the water maker, all of that good stuff. Mind you, as soon as we're anchored, we can slide out the two bottom panels. That'll give us 1600 watts instead, which is typically enough to get us by. But while we're sailing, we can't have those out, so hence the need to run the engine. It would definitely be nice to not have to run the engine to charge the batteries, but typically we only have to run the engine maybe for an hour each day if it's been a little bit overcast and we've been making water, stuff like that. So yeah, it's not the end of the world. Speaking of making water with the water maker, as you can see here behind me, our water tank is at 56%. We only have about 200 liters of water on the boat, so running the water maker is, well, a semi-daily affair. And also it's nice to run it as often as possible so that we know it's still working, so we can start conserving water if it breaks. I'll flip this guy, we'll start watching the pressure, that's up, then we'll bring this guy up. And we should be good. I'll just let the water run for 5-10 minutes, something like that, and then we'll start filling the tank. Now that we're ready to fill the water tank, we just flip this, and we're now filling the tank. While I've been doing that, Ava's been getting lunch ready. What are we having for lunch, Ava?
Egg salad.
Nice.
It is about 1:45 and I've just hit my first wall, so I'm gonna head down and take a nap. We sleep here at the settee when we're underway. Mads and I have different methods. He puts his head down here and his feet going that way, and I put my head down there, and then I put all these pillows, and I use these pillows too, and I wedge myself between the pillows, and I don't even move. See, snug as a bug, I'm not rolling anywhere. And I just got my Kindle, I'm gonna read for a little bit and probably pass out in like 2 seconds.
While Ava's napping, we'll turn off the engine. Our state of charge is back up to 70%. I think the sun will take care of the last 30% through the rest of the day. Oh, sweet, blessed silence. You might notice that we're both wearing our PFDs. We tend to do that all the time, especially like when we're alone in the cockpit. We do that not so much because of the F in PFD, the flotation part, but because each of our vests here have a little AIS MOB device. If, God forbid, one of us goes overboard, as soon as the PFD inflates, this little guy activates. He sends out an AIS signal with a special code in it, and that will make an alarm go off on the chart plotter and also put a dot at the location of this guy. The reason we really like that is because most of the time there's just one person up here in the cockpit, and if I was to go overboard while Ava was sleeping, well, she wouldn't find out about it for hours. but if the alarm goes off, she'll certainly wake up and she'll know exactly where I am. You can also stuff a little PLB inside of your flotation device. We have one of those in our ditch bag. It works similar to an EPIRB, where it tells somebody far away over satellite that this device has been triggered and that you're in trouble, but it won't notify the people on the boat. So you're notifying people that are thousands of miles away, but not the boat that's only maybe a mile away. So that's why in the flotation devices here, I really like the AIS MOB doohickeys. Okay, I think it's safe to say Ava is out like a light, so let's head outside and try and be quiet.
Good morning. I just woke up from my nap. It was about like an hour nap, so that was good. I feel a little bit more refreshed, except Mads told me he filmed me when I was sleeping. So I'm gonna have to find a way to get him back somehow. Now I'm gonna take a quick shower. We've actually been showering every day on this passage. Usually when we're showering in colder climates, we don't shower every day. We'll go a couple days just because we don't have to. But now that it's warm outside and we're in the sun and the salt water, it's nice to just rinse off for the day. We feel better, and plus we sleep a lot better at night too. Okay, see you later. I'm gonna leave you out here while I shower. I just got out of the shower and I am feeling very refreshed. Next, I'm going to be making us a little halfway point treat, and I'm going to be baking a cake, but I'm not going to be baking it in the oven. I'm going to be cooking it in the rice cooker. As you can see, our rice cooker has a cake option right there, and I haven't used it yet, and I've never made a cake in a rice cooker, so I thought, what better time than now? I love this rice cooker. I'm telling you, it is such a game changer for us. Matt keeps making fun of me because all I keep talking about is how much I love the rice cooker, because I've been making the pasta in there and the rice, and like even yesterday we made chicken teriyaki, and I just like made the noodles and fried and reheated everything up in the rice cooker. It's amazing. And why I really love it for pasta is because everything cooks inside of here with the lid closed, and if you cook the pasta on the rice setting, it turns out perfectly and you don't have to worry about spilling out any hot boiling water. All hail the mighty rice cooker, but I think its true test is going to be if this cake turns out. Before we continue, I spot something. Oh, look at the sweet little sleepy angel mouse. So precious. I'm not doing anything too fancy, I'm just making a box cake, and the rice cooker instructions say just do it as you would usually, just mix all the ingredients. Whoa! I just got cake dust everywhere. Okay, baking on a boat, wonderful. As I was saying before everything tips over again, you just mix everything in a bowl as you would usually with the box cake, and then just pop it in the rice cooker. Please don't fall, camera. Pray to the cake gods I don't spill this. Whew, I made it into the pan. I do think I'm gonna zhuzh this up a little bit with a little crumble top. Okay, now I need cinnamon. I do not know how Mads ever gets the camera to stay on this pole, but I am going to mix the crumble together and then I'll show you. Okay, cake is in the pan, crumble is crumbled on top. Now it's time to bake. Okay, she's done. Time for the big reveal. Ta-da! Now the crumble got absorbed into the cake, but it looks pretty good. Let's take it out. And I also had a little bit of a scare because this counter never went down from 30, so I don't know what that's all about. Can you help me flip the cake out?
Yep.
Whoop. And okay. That's what it's really like, baking a cake in the middle of the Atlantic. Oh no! That was the crumble!
Uh-oh.
I think the crumble did something to it. Damn it.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be delicious though.
Yeah. It's 6:45 and we just made dinner. Before I jumped in the shower, I pulled some frozen taco meat out of the freezer to let thaw. And that's what we cooked here. We just have like some taco bowls. And I'm telling you, having the pre-cooked meals is so nice. Like if you have the freezer space, it just makes cooking so much easier. You don't have to think about like what you're gonna cook, and all we usually do is just like make a side, like rice or pasta. And of course we use the rice cooker for that. So that's been really nice.
The pre-cooked meals really shine during the first 3 or 4 days of a passage where you're still like a little bit wobbly, you haven't gotten your sea legs yet, not a lot of energy and stuff. So yeah, pre-cooked meals, definitely a win.
And I had a little miscalculation error when I cooked all the meals for, well, I originally cooked all the meals for the guys because I thought they were gonna do the crossing. But I made way too much than what I thought than what they actually eat. So we actually have like tons of food that is probably gonna last us quite a while.
I think basically we have double the amount of food we'll need. So yeah, once we're done with the passage, I still think we have food in the freezer for maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
I love it. I told Nance we need to like start meal prepping all the time. Just like do a big cook on Sunday or like a big cook for the month. I don't know. I love this pre-cooked meal stuff.
Throughout the day, I've been keeping an eye on the weather because there is some stuff that's going to be rolling in over the next couple of days. If you're wondering why the weather is downloading so dang fast, it's because we're not using the Iridium Go, we're using our Starlink connection. And yeah, it's done. This is the weather for the next 10 days. And as you can see here, there's some awfully red stuff the next 2, 3, 4 days. What you're seeing here is gusts of wind, so it's not the sustained wind speed, but the gusts. And for the next 3, 4 days, it's saying a max of 28 knots. That's not that much wind, but unfortunately, it seems like the forecast for the gusts are more like what we're seeing as the sustained, at least for the last week or so. So yeah, we might be in for a fair chunk of wind. I think first thing tomorrow we'll get the boat squared away, remove the loose lines, remove the sunshady thingy in the cockpit, just get the boat ready for a bit of a blow. But yeah, in all likelihood, it's going to be perfectly fine. We should also transfer diesel to the day tank so that that's ready to use in case we need it, and also get our lines out for clipping in here in the cockpit. We don't use those on nice days like today, but it might be a nice option to have if it's going to start blowing. Before we end the video, do you want to show them what you've been working on, Ava?
Who, me?
Yeah, it's you.
I thought you'd never ask. I'm working on an Octomess. It's a little octopus with a sail life hat. It's a mess. Isn't it cute?
It's almost 8 o'clock and we're about to settle into our evening routine, and then it's just going to be a matter of repeating the process you saw in the beginning of the video over and over again.
And again, and again, and again, and again.
Yeah, but then we should be in Barbados. I think we only have another 7 or 8 days to go if we can manage 5 knots, which we should be able to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll end this week's video here, and we hope to see all you guys back aboard Athena next week for hopefully landfall in Barbados.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. As always, feel free to leave a comment down below, and don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video,
please remember to leave a like.
See you!